knocked him down, knocked him out, woke him back up, whooped on his ass. Somehow his chain fell in my hand. I don't know how I got in my hand, but it fell in my hand.
I'm like, well, shit, let's take pictures with it.
What would make a real gangster knock out one of hip-hop's biggest stars at a traffic light in broad daylight, and then parade his stolen chain in front of thousands?
Then all of a sudden his Rolex started jumping off and coming into my hand. I don't know how that happened.
In the mid-90s, Solo, a Crip well known in the streets, knocked out Ice Cube, took his chain and Rolex, and flashed them on stage at a Cypress Hill concert.
Be real, put it on and hold it all up into the crowd. Crowd go crazy. They go bananas off of it.
But this wasn't just about street cred. This was personal.
My misunderstanding came in between it because, you know, we were a certain rap group and they were Westside Connection, and it turned into some other shit, and I lost.
Once friends who shared front porches and family ties, their bond was shattered over music, money, and loyalty.
Man, that's my boy. I'm talking about NWA days. That's my guy. Sitting on the front porch, he playing with my son, you know.
Why did Solo feel so betrayed? What went down behind the scenes of Cube's rise? You've heard the myths. Now here's the truth.
It made me go a different direction with it, but we had our little head bump and we moved on.
In the world of hip-hop beefs, there are rap battles, diss tracks, and then there's that one time Franklin from Grand Theft Auto 5, known in the streets as Solo, allegedly knocked out Ice Cube at a traffic light in LA and walked off with his chain. This isn't just an internet rumor or a forgotten beef from the Source magazine era. This story lives in the raw, uncomfortable truth of bruised egos, loyalty gone sideways, and the chaos of 90s West Coast rap.
My name is Sean Fontino, but everybody know me in the streets as Solo.
Yeah, not just Solo.
Everybody got love for Big Solo, man.
Solo was the nigga.
Watch, man, from LA.
It all went down at a traffic light. Two men who used to be like brothers came face to face in the middle of the city. What happened next turned into one of the most talked about street fights in hip-hop history. According to Solo, Cube threw the first punch, but Solo was the one left standing. He says Cube was knocked out cold. And when it was all over, Solo ended up with Cube's chain in one hand and his Rolex in the other. He never really explained how that happened, just that it did.
Knocked him down, knocked him out, woke him back up, whooped on his ass. Somehow his chain fell in my hand.
In the mid-90s, West Coast hip-hop was like a boiling pot with the lid barely hanging on. The music was explosive, the personalities even more so. At the center of it all was Ice Cube, riding high with the success of his solo career and forming his new group, Westside Connection. On the other side was Cypress Hill, a Latin hip-hop trio known for their hard-hitting beats and smoky sound, unapologetically repping their corner of the scene. And somewhere in between it all was Solo, a street-certified rapper from Watts.
It was a pretty interesting time because, you know, it created a lot of split here in LA between black and brown, you know.
Concern began to grow that the beef might pit neighborhoods, gangs, and races.
The tension started over something that, in hip-hop, is sacred: lyrics. Cypress Hill had just dropped their track, Throw Your Set in the Air. Not long after, Ice Cube released his song Friday, which sounded suspiciously similar. The hook, the cadence, the style. Cypress Hill saw it all as stolen. They called it out, loudly. They accused Cube of jacking their material without giving credit, and the beef officially kicked off.
The song, and he likes it. He goes, yeah, that's perfect, you know. Me and Muggs asked him, hey man, you know, we got a couple of tracks from the album, you want to hear it?
We played him a song called Throw Your Set in the Air, and he was like, oh, that's banging, that shit is banging.
Man, we'd love to give it to you, but you know, this is gonna be the single on our album.
He said, all right, cool. So he said, can I hear it again? So we played it again for him.
We played it for him a couple of times over because he wanted to hear it again. Finally I hear it, sure enough, there it is, you know, the same. It's like some of the words are changed around, but for the most part, the chorus is the same.
Cube never wanted to back down, fired back with his own shots. What started as a war of words quickly turned into something personal. Diss tracks flew back and forth. Cypress Hill's No Rest for the Wicked aimed straight at Cube. Fans picked sides. The streets started buzzing. Everyone was watching, waiting to see who would fold first.
You know, me, I don't love him.
no challenge from nobody. You know, even though we was dogs, you know, I felt like they should be dealt with the worst.
Oh yeah, it ain't over.
Then came the diss at a car show in Los Angeles. Cube's crew clowned Cypress Hill in front of a crowd of 40,000. That was the final straw. Cypress Hill responded in New York during a pay-per-view event, crossing out Ice Cube's name on a shirt and making a loud statement on stage.
If you're a Latin in the house, if you're a Puerto Latino in the house, Mexican, Puerto Rican, Cuban, El Salvadorian, I don't know what you are, put it out in the air right now.
This is where Solo got involved. He wasn't just a rapper trying to make it. He was already well connected, with a reputation in the streets. He also had deep personal ties to Ice Cube. They'd once been close. Cube had even played with Solo's son on his front porch. They weren't just associates, they were like family.
That dude from NWA was happening, homie. And he came off so cool that we ended up getting so cool that I was on his porch with him at his mama house over there off, I think it was the Row or something like that in 111 neighborhood.
But when the beef between Cube and Cypress Hill went public, Solo made a choice. He sided with Cypress Hill. To make things worse, Cube and Cam allegedly had a beef over a business feud, and Solo naturally took side with Cam, who was his longtime friend. The tension lingered until the day they met face-to-face at a traffic light in Los Angeles. That's where everything exploded. A few words turned into punches. Solo says Cube started it, but he was the one who finished it. Cube ended up on the ground, his Westside Connection chain, and Rolex somehow ending up in Solo's hands. What followed was one of the pettiest and most public flexes in rap history.
Somehow his chain fell in my hand. I don't know how it got in my hand, but it fell in my hand. Then all of a sudden his Rolex started jumping off and coming into my hand. I don't know how that happened.
Solo took Cube's chain and brought it to a Cypress Hill concert at the House of Blues. He held it up on stage. The crowd went crazy. Be Real even wore it while performing. Cameras snapped, people talked. The humiliation was total.
Be Real put it on and hold it all up into the crowd. Crowd go crazy. They go bananas off of it.
He took things even further by going to Cube's neighborhood and telling everyone about the story, claiming Cube could have his chain back if he fought for it again.
And told everybody in his neighborhood, bro, this true story, man, he can have his chain back. And I used to wear it all the time and didn't worry about nobody taking it from me. And I was like, he can have his chain back, bro, as long as he come back and fight me again.
Cube didn't retaliate. He let it slide. Maybe it was damage control. Maybe he knew pushing it further would only blow things up more. Eventually, Mack 10, Cube's right-hand man in Westside Connection, stepped in. He offered Solo compensation in exchange for returning the chain. It took time, but the deal went through. Solo got paid, and somewhere down the line, he and Cube actually sat down face to face.
I ended up getting paid. Mack 10 ended up taking care of me, making sure shit was straight. Then me and Cube ended up sitting down, man. Man to man, sitting down. He was filming the Jamie Foxx show and Players Club at the time.
Cube was filming the Jamie Foxx show and the Players Club at the time. When they met up at Jerry's Deli, Cube had on big black sunglasses, trying to hide what Solo later realized were bruises from the fight. The two talked it out, man to man. The beef was finally squashed. Years later, Solo would call it what it really was, a misunderstanding. He blamed the music politics, the street noise, and the hype for making him forget that Cube was his friend, his family. What started as a dispute over lyrics ended up rewriting the dynamics of an entire circle. In a scene where respect is currency, one misstep can cost you everything. And for Cube and Solo, it took years, a chain snatching, and a lot of real talk before things finally settled.
You know, people that's not hood, that's not in the streets like I was at that time, bro, took it like, oh shit, you just beat the Don Mecca.
Solo and Cube's relationship actually started on a high note. Solo first spotted Ice Cube in the neighborhood, back when Cube was riding around in a Suzuki Jeep with a Jerry Curl and NWA still blaring through car speakers. They bonded quickly, so closely, in fact, that Cube used to hang out on Solo's porch, playing with his son.
Came off so cool that we ended up getting so cool that I was on his porch with him at his mama house over there off, I think it was the Row or something like that in 111 neighborhood.
Their friendship extended into the music business. Solo was part of a local rap group called the What's Up Crew, and he was tight with Cam. a talented rapper who Solo considered a cousin, even though they weren't blood. When Cube told Solo he was leaving NWA to start his own label, Solo saw the opportunity as the break they'd been waiting for. Cube even said he'd sign Cam, and he did. Cube kept his word. He signed Cam under Street Knowledge Records, backed by East West. But that's where things got tricky. Solo thought he was getting signed too. In fact, he assumed it was a package deal. When it didn't happen, things soured. Solo, still knee-deep in the streets and quick to respond with fists over contracts, even offered to DJ for Cam despite knowing nothing about DJing.
That, you know, they want to sign Cam. I was like, well, I'm going to be his DJ. I ain't know shit about DJing. But one thing I can say on that note, man, Cube had told me, man, Solo, this is what you do, bro. You gonna be down with him. Don't worry about that.
Just to stay close to his dreams. Solo was born and raised in Watts, Los Angeles, one of the city's roughest neighborhoods where surviving the streets wasn't just about reputation. It was about survival, period. He grew up surrounded by gang violence, drugs, and the kind of real-life drama that would later be immortalized in video games and rap lyrics. He joined the Crips at a young age, not because it was cool, but because it was the only reality he knew. Violence, robberies, hustling, and close calls with death weren't movie scenes, they were just Monday. He was knee-deep in the street life and developed a reputation as someone you did not want to cross.
I grew up in the city of Watts, man, and, you know, I joined the gangs. Of course, you know, damn near all of us do that because that's all we got. You feel what I'm saying? When you in the hood.
Despite the chaos around him, Solo had a passion for rap and a real talent for it. He linked up with other LA artists, eventually forming ties with major figures in West Coast hip-hop, including DJ Pooh, Cam, and Ice Cube. He was part of a rap group called the What's Up Crew and had dreams of making it big. By the 90s, Solo had made a name for himself, not just as a rapper, but as someone with serious street credibility. Stories of his altercations, including the infamous Ice Cube fight at a traffic light, became hip-hop urban legend. He was fearless, impulsive, and very much about that life. All that chaos eventually caught up with him. He was shot in the head during a robbery attempt and nearly died. That moment became the wake-up call he desperately needed. It forced him to pull back, reevaluate, and begin stepping away from the streets.
But here, the bullet wound here, it's one here, and that's from doing like this when the guy stood over me and shit. He hit my arms, but in the stomach twice.
Solo's transition from Watts to Hollywood came through his longtime friend and industry veteran, DJ Pooh. When Rockstar Games was casting for Grand Theft Auto 5, they weren't looking for polished actors with drama school accents. They wanted authenticity, people who could bring raw, lived experience to the table. Sean Fontano came in, thanks to DJ Pooh, who helped write for GTA and knew Fontano from the streets and the music scene. When he read for the role of Franklin Clinton, it wasn't an audition. It was storytelling from muscle memory. Franklin wasn't just a fictional character. He was Solo with some polish. The voice, the attitude, the LA slang, the walk, the coded body language, none of that had to be faked. He was channeling decades of surviving Watts, navigating gang life, dealing with betrayal, ambition, police harassment, and the hunger to escape all of it. In interviews, Solo has said Franklin is about 85% him. The slang, the attitude, the way Franklin walks and talks, it all comes from real life. Even the missions about gang politics and betrayal reflect the world Solo once lived in. He didn't just voice Franklin, he was Franklin. GTA 5 went on to become one of the best-selling games of all time, with over 190 million copies sold. Franklin became one of gaming's most recognizable characters, and Solo, he became a household name in a completely new way. People who only knew him as that guy who knocked out Ice Cube suddenly knew him as Franklin. He even returned in the Contract DLC years later, showing Franklin as a successful businessman, something Solo himself had become. That expansion, by the way, featured Dr. Dre, new music, and gave players a glimpse of what Franklin's life looked like after the main storyline. It was poetic, like watching Sean Fontano's real and digital lives evolve in sync.